Welcome to this meaningful yoga class. My name's Olivia, and this short flow class is going to be themed on peace. And we're going to engage our bodies and our minds and our souls so that we might experience more peace. And with all the meaningful themed yoga classes, there will always be an opportunity to explore and experience the transcendent, the spiritual realm. You might call it God. So find your way down to your mat, find a comfortable posture, easy pose, or your legs straight out if that is better for you, and close your eyes. And just start by bringing your attention to your breath. And maybe you can consciously but gently allow your breath to lengthen and to deepen. Bring your awareness to your sitting bones rooting down on the ground, the weight of your presence. And as your breath is maybe finding some deeper, longer rhythm, bring your intention to what you want to get out of this time, that you might want to find more peace, more inner peace. And so set your intention towards peace. Or if you prefer and are more comfortable, you might want to make a prayer to know more of God's peace. And so let's bring some movement to our bodies. As we breathe in, let's reach over to the right, bringing the left arm up and over, and just on the exhale sink in. On the inhale, switch sides, making sure that your arm is above your head and both sitting bones are rooting down. Breathing in and breathing out as you settle. You can find a rhythm that suits you. You don't have to be in time with me. Some ancient wisdom teaches that we should seek peace and pursue it. And then find your way back to the mat and just reach forwards, crawling your hands forwards, lowering your head and leaning forward with your chest, giving your back, lower back, glutes a stretch. And then find your way up and find your way to the top of your mat. And come up to mountain pose, standing. And then bring your arms above your head and sit back into chair pose. Your feet a hip width distance apart. Make sure you can see your toes over the ends of your knees. And breathe in, coming up, and then exhale, coming down to forward fold. Take a breath here. Maybe your hands meet the mat, maybe they don't. It's fine, either way. And inhale, reaching back up, and sit back on the exhale into chair pose. Breathe in, Coming up, swan diving down again to forward fold. Take a breath. Breathe in as you come up again to high mountain and sit back into your chair pose. Exhaling. Take a breath. On the inhale, come up, diving out to the sides and down to forward fold, and place both hands on the mat, bending the knees, and step back, the right foot and the left foot coming into downward facing dog. So your feet are hip width distance apart. Maybe you've got a slight bend in your knees, that's fine. And splay your hands, pressing down through hands and the balls of your feet. On the inhale, come forward to plank or half plank if you prefer. Untuck the toes and lower down to the mat. On the inhale, reach up with your head and shoulders, keeping your shoulders down for cobra or baby cobra. And then tuck the feet, pushing up with hands and feet back into downwards facing dog. And if you're like me, you may need to adjust your feet again. Take a breath. On the inhale, come forward again to plank or half plank, you can choose. And on the exhale, lower down, slowly to the floor, untuck the toes, and push up gently into cobra. Tuck the toes, push up, adjust if needed, back into downward facing dog. Take a breath and come forward to plank for our last vinyasa, and lower down, untuck the toes, again up into cobra. And this time we're going to tuck the toes, and instead of coming into downward dog, we're going into child's pose. So you might want to put your knees slightly further apart, reach the arms forwards, and then let them gently drop to the ground. And just take a few breaths here, feeling the weight of your body, noticing your breath, and remembering that peace is what you're seeking, peace is what you're pursuing. And maybe there is a sense in which you're comfortable to explore this being the spiritual dimension. Maybe you're open to a peace that comes from God. Maybe you can invite this peace to wash over you like a river. And then come up to your downward facing dog. Maybe reaching a little closer to the floor with your heels, but don't overstretch. Reaching the sitting bones upwards. And take an inhale and walk your feet up to the top of your mat. And slowly unfurl your spine, coming up to mountain, bringing your hands to prayer pose. And take a breath. Keeping your hands in prayer pose, let's pick up our right foot and step back to pyramid. So it's a nice easy step, we're not stepping back too far. It's a decent pace. And then we're going to hinge at the waist, keeping our hips closed, facing forwards, both feet facing somewhat forwards, and come down into pyramid with prayer hands. Reaching the spine and the head forward, looking somewhere in front of you on the ground, remembering to breathe. Slightly keeping a bend in both legs. You might be feeling a stretch along one or both of your legs. And now put a slight bend in your front knee as you bring your weight onto this front leg, onto the left foot, arms out at the side. And we're going to move into aeroplane pose. So you may find you're like this, you may be like this, or you may be able to pick your foot up higher. I'm actually touching my wall here. But if it's easier for you to balance, you can find a wall. And remember to breathe. Find a fixed point on the floor. And then you can come back up to standing. And we're going to do this on the other side. So keeping your feet a hip width distance apart. Step back with the left foot. Hands to prayer pose. Slight bend in both knees, a micro bend, so we don't hyperextend. And then hinge at the waist as you lean forward, lengthening the spine, feeling that length through the top of your head. Balancing, keeping those legs strong, drawing your navel upwards. And then transfer the weight onto that front foot. Bring the arms to the side and see if you can pick up that back foot, maybe to a lower level, maybe somewhere higher. It doesn't matter how high you pick your leg, how long you stay in the pose. If you wobble out of it, that's fine. And then come up to standing. And let's find our way down to our mat for a short stretching sequence on the floor. So we're going to bring our legs into a wide angle pose. And then take your right leg and bend it so your heel is up near your groin. And then I find it easier to take my shoulders and turn them and face them towards the extended leg and have the foot flexed. Take the arms upwards, breathing in, and on the exhalation come down somewhere towards this foot. Your hands might be resting on your shins. They may be around your heel or around your foot. Don't pull too tightly, but lead with your chest. So we don't want one arm longer than the other. We want the shoulders facing the foot. And so as both sitting bones are rooting down, you might feel this on the back of your right side. And remember to breathe. And then come back upright. And we're going to turn our shoulders now to face the bent knee. So our shoulders are in line with that knee. And raising the arms above our head, we're going to fall sideways down the length of the extended leg. So my left arm is just inside my left leg. So the same arm and the same leg on the same side or on the floor. Keep both sitting bones rooting down. Remember to breathe. And reach over with that top arm, trying not to let it fall forwards. And smile. And then use that top arm to pull yourself back upwards as we switch legs to go on the other side. Flexing the foot on this side. Let's turn our shoulders towards that extended leg, raising our arms, and then gently hinging at the waist. And we want to lead with our chest rather than leading with our head. The idea isn't that we bow our head down and touch our knee, but rather we lead with our chest. So we feel the stretch along the back, the lower back especially, and along the extended leg. And breathe. Come back upright. Take the shoulders again towards the bent knee. Raise the arms above your head and then fall gently sideways, allowing that right arm to tuck in just in front of the right leg. Reaching with the left arm also towards in the same direction. Both arms are kind of parallel, they're both pointing down the right leg if you're doing it the same way round as I am. But try not to let that top arm fall down. It's better to be higher than it is to be lower and forward. And then bring that arm back upright. And let's just return to that easy pose. If that's comfortable for you, you're welcome to lie down if you want. But whether you're sitting or lying, I encourage you to close your eyes or lower your gaze if you prefer. And I imagine that you will be feeling more connected with your body, more present. And that in itself can bring about a sense of peace. Focusing on the breath, lengthening the breath can also increase our experience of peace. But I suggest there is also an outer source of peace. That when the inner turmoil and the daily circumstances seem chaotic, we can draw on a transcendent source of peace. I call this God's peace. And so if you're comfortable with connecting to God's peace, just invite that peace, that divine peace within. Maybe as you breathe in, invite God's peace. And as you exhale, relax into that peace. Breathe in, divine peace. Exhale into that peace. Take one final breath in this practice to seal it. Breathing in that divine peace and exhaling and settling into that peace. And then you're welcome to open your eyes. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. There will be lots more to come. Or do come and join me in one of my live online Zoom classes. You'll find the details on my website at meaningfulmeditation.com. Thank you so much for joining me.